Hey everybody, Danny Maude here. Thanks for joining us. Just come back from a really lovely week away back at home with my parents. And I took my dad out on the golf course. My dad's 76 years old and he'd been struggling with his game recently. I haven't seen him for a year because of COVID and what have you. And he'd been cutting his driver, not hitting it anyway. Certainly wasn't hitting it very straight. And he said, look, you know, maybe I'm just getting a bit old. That's why I'm losing some distance. But you know what? It really, really wasn't. He was losing distance with his driver because he wasn't using pull power, he was using push power. And all we did was change a couple of little things that I think could really benefit you. That made such a big difference to how far he hit it. Now, I can't tell you how much distance we gained because we didn't have the launch monitor with us, but in his own words, it was a decent amount and it was effortless. So I'm going to share with you what we did because I really think it could help you too. Now, before I get into the video, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. Just press that little bell button, next subscribe button, you get notified every time I release a video just like this one. Plus, I always put a free practice guide in the description box below so you never have to remember a thing. Great, so I think you're going to love this. So I'm going to give you 3 simple steps that you can start generating more power and accuracy with your driver. Now, what I did with my dad is, look, he needed to get some pull power and stop using push power, which is putting so much effort in and not get any reward. Now, why? Well, his legs were static, his body was static because he was kind of concerned about where the ball would go. So he would swing back with his arms, no real kind of power here generated, and then swing through with his arms. So he's really just pushing it through. Every time he tried to add power from this position, clearly he'd want to add somebody in, but now because he hasn't got anybody on the way back, he would simply add it on the way through, and every time he hit it hard, he would create a slice. So I needed him, and you might be the same, to store some energy at the top of the backswing by moving and rotating more. Now clearly, he's not going to be able to rotate as much as most people because he's 76 years old, but he can store more energy, and you'll be exactly the same. And I gave him this very, very simple exercise. All I wanted him to do was take his golf club, and you can do this now with me if you can, and turn and look at the sky behind him. So if you're in the house, look at the ceiling, look at the sky behind him here. Now while you're doing it, I didn't get him to kind of turn his head like this. I noticed I've got his head to turn at an angle. So my eyes are almost at like 45 degrees. This does 2 things. One, your body's going to have to first of all move in a certain way to get there, which will give you the backswing feelings in a second. But 2, your eyes at this angle also help you swing the club, look, on the right arc, yeah? So notice this, when he moved there, he said, look down, Daddy, what do you notice? He says, oh look, my feet are moved, my heel's off the ground, I've turned my hips a lot more than normally, with my torso's turned, yes. Now look, if I was to grab the other end of this, can you see how you can use pull power now? Compared to here, look, well, there's nothing now that you can use pull power. But he said, Danny, that feels like a lot of movement. I said, it does, and it feels like a lot of movement because you're just not used to it. You've been so cautious over the drive that you're staying so still. You've got to get that movement. You've got to be brave, right? So I got him, first of all, simply to learn that feeling. Get him to self-set up, turn his eyes at about 45 degrees behind him, move his head back, and then just ask the question, do you feel powerful from there? Oh, yeah. One time he did this. I said, do you feel powerful? And he went, oh, now I do. So you could ask the same question too. Do you feel powerful? Just get to the top of the backswing. Do you feel powerful? Yes, you do. You're ready. You've stored that energy. You could then just start and hit some golf balls from that position. Simply just imagine, do one practice swing where you look behind, up to the sky behind you here, go back, feel that motion, and away you go. So start with that first. So once you've stored energy, you then need to know how to harness that energy. So what does my dad need to do from there to make sure he gets a downswing spot on? Well, he needs to make sure that he's got a platform to hit from. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you get to the top of the backswing, if he's on his back foot here, he hasn't formed a platform. Now it's a platform. Well, this is a platform to use that energy, that stored energy, and harness it to drive through the shot. If you're off balance, you can't do this. Throwing a ball, you've got a platform to propel, right? Use that stored energy. So we're on a golf course. I needed to give him something super, super simple. How am I going to get my dad from this beautiful top of the backswing position to naturally get into this platform to harness that energy and use it? Very, very simply. I went against the grain. I got him to increase his momentum in his backswing. Remember, I want to get him into this position. Well, watch this. If you swing and you said, look, get some momentum into this swing. So as you're turning there, speed up your backswing a little bit more. Now everyone's telling you to slow it down, but that just gets you going offline. That means you're too position orientated. When you speed up the backswing, your body doesn't want to go with it because it'll feel like it's losing balance. So watch, it kind of equals it out. It gets less nice equilibrium. It starts to recenter itself because it doesn't want to go there. So it actually helps your swing. So swing with some momentum on the way back to naturally allow your body to recenter in transition. Yeah, you don't have to think about it. It will do this naturally. And then what I want you to do, once you've done a few of them, got that sense of momentum and that natural recentering, well, what do you do from there? Well, we've got to somehow release it. Well, watch this. From here, I want you to, now when you're releasing it, imagine that you're now going to look up to the sky, up this way, and get your eyes at a 45-degree angle this way. So it becomes 45 here, 45 here. This then creates the shape and the arc of the swing. For my dad, his eyes were doing this. They were staying too level on the way through. This was simply getting him coming over the top. But creating this momentum on the way back forms a platform, and then on the way through, we want to almost imagine we're looking up there. Clearly, we're going to be looking down at the ground, but few exercises, just looking up into that top right-hand corner, keeping your eyes at this angle will give you the sense of shape. But there's one other thing, which kind of relates to the point we've just made. We've created momentum on the backswing. Now you've got catapult on the downswing, because watch, when you swing back with momentum here, and then allow momentum on the way through, the body is automatically here going to do this exact opposite. So as you create momentum on the way through, not steer it, momentum, your body won't want to go with that momentum because it will feel like it's losing balance. So what's it going to do? It's going to resist and go back to allow this to go through. Resist it, staying balanced. This gets you hitting up on the driver. This then starts to hitting those long, powerful shots. So that's all we did with Dad. So look, do some swings, Dad. Feel some momentum on the way back, momentum on the way through. Look, 45, 45 to feel the shape of this motion. And then when you're ready, really just let go. Bit bottomy for me, that one. Doesn't matter. But from there, he said, well, I want to hit it a little bit straighter. How do I build a little bit of a routine with this? I said, just introduce the target. So we're not too just on swing. I said, look, this is all swing and swing. Introduce your target just a little bit here. So you start to kind of maybe picture your shot. Get yourself up, line the club face up to where you want the ball to go, get a sense of where your body is, do a few swings, create that momentum. I always said, look up there to sky first to feel your backswing, look up there to sky to feel your downswing, create that momentum so your body naturally stays balanced. Doesn't make sense sometimes, doesn't it? We're all trying to stay still, but the more momentum you create in the club, the stiller you will naturally stay, because it's your body's resistance to movement, okay? That's how you get the catapult, that's how you create speed, and it's how you stay centered. Let's finish with one more, and then we'll give you a nice little summary at the end. Okay, let's finish with that one. So, from here, what have we done? We stored energy. To create pull power, you need to create energy, stored energy. From this position here, I got him to simply pivot. From there, he's got a lot more energy stored to bring back into the ball. He can turn his legs, he can turn his body. He found his way of doing this, and you should find your way too. The second thing from here, from this position, I said, look, you've got to form a platform. You've got to get recentered again. But it's too complicated to think of all those things. So just feel how momentum naturally keeps the body centered. The momentum on the way back, your body will resist. Momentum on the way through, your body will resist. It helps you stay much, much more here versus slow back, slow through, could get you moving all over the place. And then just keep in mind the arc of potentially the eyes. There helps you to kind of figure out where you're swinging to. Those things should really, really help. It certainly helped my dad. We couldn't tell you how far he actually hit it because we didn't have like a measuring device, but it was so much easier for him to start hitting drivers. So I really hope it helps you too. Give it a like if it does, and maybe share it with your friends who could do with a bit of help just like this. And of course, look, remember there's a free practice guide in the description box below, so you never have to remember a thing. And of course, look, if you're new to the channel, join me next week by just subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Have a great golfing week.